these cuneiform texts give us a lot of information about the Anunnaki, and I think that's like the second tier information. Once we get back to this and really studying this and how it's laid out on the clay tablets, we might find a whole another 3D imprint of information that it carries. So we learn about the Anunnaki, the Anuna gods, obviously, Anu, Enlil, and Enki, and they work in the Abzu. And the Abzu has been given many meanings, but the primary meaning that I was attracted to is this is where the gold came from, and they refer to the gold all the time. And this is some of the translations. Great rivers there rapidly flowed, and abode by the flowing waters, Enki for himself established. He established a fortress for his house and other places where the workers would live and where the bowels of the earth to enter. Place of deepness he determined for the heroes, into the earth's bowels to descend to extract the gold. And I often thought that maybe Great Zimbabwe was like the mine manager's house. You know, I spoke about this before, because the mining towns that I grew up on, it was always very easy to find the mine manager's house. Just like stand around in the town and look around and find the biggest house on the hill, and that's always where the mine manager used to live. And Great Zimbabwe is exactly that. I mean, it's the house on the hill, the biggest house on the hill in that whole area. And I thought, well, maybe that's where Enki used to hang out, or there was his house. But I don't know. I'll tell you why. Because when you look at Great Zimbabwe, that big conical tower inside doesn't really, I think that the whole structure of Great Zimbabwe is very similar to the same, the way that the other stone circles were laid out. And you'll find out what that is all about a bit later, if you don't know that yet. So, in the Abzu, Enki plans was conceiving where to build his house, where for heroes dwellings to prepare, where the bowels of the earth to enter. And now we read about his technology and so forth. The earth splitter, Enki there established, there within the earth a gash to make, by way of tunnels earth's innards to reach, the golden veins to uncover. But to do all this mine work and to get all the gold, they needed some serious help, because they couldn't get enough gold. You should know this by now. And this is where they decide to create a little slave. And this is where we enter the picture as humans. This is, however, a very, very murky area. You know, I'm really simplifying it here, and I'm sure that you are deeply aware of how murky and mysterious the origins of human race is, and what the potential genetic contributors are or may be to our gene pool. And this is a huge discussion, but it does remain there's definitely a key line here that suggests that we were created originally as slaves by the Anunnaki to dig in the gold mines. And this is what many of the ancient cultures believe, especially the African cultures believe this unquestionably. Sorry, I missed that. Let us create a Lulu, a primitive worker, the hardship work to take over. Let the being, the toil of the Anunnaki carry on his back. And then a primitive worker shall be created. Our command will he understand. Our tools he will handle. To the Anunnaki in the Abzu relief shall come. Just notice here, I'm going to come to this later. This is apparently a scene depicting the creation of Adam or Adamu. And this dude here is holding something in his hand. At first I thought it was a flask or something, right? Or with some mixture. But actually it looks like a cone-shaped tool more than anything else. I'm going to come to cone-shaped tools a little bit later, because with the cone-shaped tools, they pretty much did everything. And then the mysterious stone tools and artifacts. I was so happy when I found this one. See, you can see how happy I was there. And cone-shaped tools that just, I can't believe that they were completely ignored. It's just like, it's like they're so obvious. Now that you know that they are possibly the most critical ancient tool that's ever been used by ancient civilizations, and it's like looking at the trees and not seeing a forest. It's like they're everywhere, but we didn't see them until I started picking it up. So these cone-shaped tools are just bloody everywhere, and then together with the donut-shaped stones or the Torus stones, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of these donut-shaped stones, or Torus stones, or as our very clever archaeologists call them, weights for digging sticks. because that's what the ancient people did. They have nothing better to do. As you know, they built huge monuments and these things, pillars and giant statues and things, so to make a little donut-shaped stone with other stones, because they remember they didn't have any metal at that stage. It was done by stones, people in the Stone Age. So they just made them because they were bored. What I find fascinating is that these ancient, in some past life regressions, the Anunnaki overlords, or the guys that were overseeing the building of the stone circles, they were apparently a lot larger than the humans, had these donut-shaped stones, or these sacred stones, hanging around their neck. They actually had them as tools around their neck, and they would use them as tools. And you'll see most likely what they would have been used for. There are hundreds of thousands of these donut-shaped stones, and I have a number of them in the museum. And then the stones that ring like bells. And that was the big discovery. When I discovered that the stones in the stone circles and the tools and artifacts actually have very strong acoustic properties, I realized that we're dealing with sound and resonance here. And just to show you briefly how the stones that ring like bells, you can also go watch this on the internet. Let me also just show you how some of these other stones ring like bells. This is what I call, and as you can see, we find many of these elongated stones. This one is full of patina. It's thick patina, so it's quite dull, but you can still hear the effect. And this is a beautiful one. This one actually rings at 2 different frequencies. Dun dun dun, dun dun dun. They're quite large. Look at this. Look at this one. And it looks also like it was inserted into something up to that point. And also, remember, they all ring like bells. This one is no exception. Alright, and on that note, there we go. That's better. That's what you want. You realize that this thing really rings like a bell, and it reverberates for quite a long time. Notice it's the same pitch, right? And that's not by accident. So, but the ruins were not dwellings for people or animals, so what were these ruins for?